A lot of you will say you haven't addressed the elephant in the room. This car is made in Hello and welcome back to sgCarMart Reviews. Today we have the Kia Seltos. Seltos, this one starts with an S, but the one that starts with a C is actually the son of Hercules and it's supposed to embody bravery and assertiveness. And Kia says that they replaced it with an S to kind of represent sportiness and sleekness. So the Kia Seltos I think belongs to the compact SUV segment, and in this segment you have the HR-V, the XV, the CHR, the CX-30, and I think the Seltos is somewhere between the HR-V and the CHR. But if you ask me, the Seltos is one that makes me think that it is most like an SUV. It drives like an SUV because I don't feel that it's a hatchback on stilts. It's properly tall when you're driving it, and the windows are nice and big, so the visibility is great, unlike something like the CX-30, which is more like a hatchback on stilts, but I like the car. So adding on to the sportiness of it all is the lights. Just look at it. Look at the daytime running light. It goes all the way here. It's like almost an entire band around the front of the car. I mean, it's like some premium German brands with the whole tail lamp going around the boot, except Kia is doing it in front. And then you have 4 LED huge lamps here, and then 3 fog lights, and then look at the signal indicator. Look at that! There are 4 bulbs in there, and then 3 strips. It's like Kia is very afraid that the guy in front of you doesn't know that you want to switch lanes. It's really a light overkill. Anyway, to the boot. The Kia Seltos is priced from $106,000 to $123,000. The 1.4-litre turbocharged engine produces 138 brake horsepower and 242 Nm of torque. The 7-speed dual-clutch transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 in 9.8 seconds. For more details on the Kia Seltos or any other car, head on to sgCarMart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. Onto the boot. What you get is 433 litres, quite decent for a car of this class. Flat load floor, so that's good. But it's quite Spartan in here. There's only one hook that I can see, and there's no charging socket. Yeah, basically that's it. And under the boot floor is your spare tyre. Does it pass the anti-trolley length test? Nope. Does it pass the luggage test? No, it doesn't. We tried just now actually. But obviously, if you reorientate it, it shouldn't be a problem. Unfortunately, the parcel shelf might get in the way when I'm going to close this, and there's nowhere to store the parcel shelf. And another thing about this parcel shelf is it blocks me from knocking down the rear seats. So I have to come to the back seat to knock down the seats, and then what you get is a relatively flat boot floor, which is good. So we can do this. Yeah, you can see why I don't like the parcel shelf. Ta-da! To the back seat now. Onto the back seat. First things first, back door opens nice and wide. And as you can see, my driving position, I'm 1.8 meters tall. Loads of room for the knees. Loads of wiggle space for my foot as well. And then headroom, plenty of headroom as well. So this is a very spacious back seat. I like it. And equipment-wise, rear aircon vents, but no climate control. Can't expect much from a car at this price range actually. And then USB ports, and I can only guess this used to be an ashtray or something. And then you get some cup holders in the center armrest, and obviously ISOFIX points. Another surprise when I got into this car is the relatively low transmission tunnel, which means sitting in the middle is actually quite okay. I don't have to man spread that much. The seat back is a bit hard, but I would say this is pretty good for a compact SUV for the middle passenger. And then there are these seats. Look at this texture. It's so pleasurable to touch it. But I think I should stop. But can you ASMR this? Can I ASMR? Oh, rip headphones. Ooh. 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 Onto the front seat. I mean, this car I think was designed to blow you away on first impressions, you know. The seats, the leather seats with this pattern is just quite sporty feeling. And then Kia has been known for value for money cars with great design. I mean, the first generation Cerato Forte that came out, 10, 12 years ago, really blew people's mind because it looked so good and came at a very affordable price point. I think that trend continues here today in the Seltos. Everything looks good. I mean, it really reminds you of a German car. You know, this grab handle thing, you usually see it in European makes, and you have it here in a Kia. But looks are looks. You know, if you actually go and feel, plastic. Is that a bad thing? Some people can say that plastics last forever. You won't have to worry about things melting and then you have that sticky texture after a few years because of Singapore's hot sun. But visually, if you look, especially here, kind of feels that you're really not in a premium car just based on looking here. I mean, looking here is great and ooh, yeah. Well, a bit of a letdown here, but I think it's okay. Speaking of design, the infotainment system and the instrument cluster is housed in this gloss black plastic frame thingy, which looks kind of weird, to be honest. If I lower the steering wheel, I can see the whole thing. It just looks very out of place, like tacked onto the car as an afterthought to make it look a bit more unique. Instrument cluster, you get a digital screen in the middle, and then your speedometer and rev counter is physical. All the necessary information is here. Pretty simple to understand. Nothing much to shout about. Anyway, 10.25-inch infotainment touchscreen. It is very good, very responsive. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connects very seamlessly via a wire. I appreciate that. It's good. I like it. And then here comes a complaint that I have. The aircon vents are slightly low. This is a SUV, and for SUVs you want to sit high and look over your bonnet. But the vents are a bit low, so I find myself trying to hunt for the perfect spot to blow cold air on my face, especially on a hot day with big windows and the sunlight is just killing you. But fret not, because the best part of the Seltos is the ventilated seat. Yes, I feel like I'm on ice, and that is actually something that you rarely get in cars at this price point. I appreciate that. I really like that. Speaking of air conditioning and ventilation, I appreciate that the aircon controls are very legible and easy to understand and easy to use. I don't have to second guess. Moving down, there's a wireless charging pad, which is tucked in this small corner here, which is actually, I think, very good, because as you're driving crazily, you don't want the screen to lighting up to distract you, and then it's very snug so your phone won't fall off. Moving down, there's some storage space freed up because your phone is on top. You can put some coins or your wallet here, and then there are charging ports here. Very useful. And then the gear lever, I have to talk about the gear lever. I've been driving this car for 2 days, and I find myself unwittingly always putting my hand like that and driving like that. I rarely drive like that, but
there's just some ergonomic wizardry going around for the gear lever. It really is very comfortable resting my hand on the gear lever like that and driving like that. Yeah, I don't know why. This is the first car that has made me do this. Because yeah, this is an auto car, you don't need to put your hand here. Well, great design on the gear lever. If there's a gear lever of the year award, it goes to the Seltos. Well, there's only one thing left, and it's to find out whether this thing drives. Well, let's go. So, what is it like to drive the Kia Seltos? Some performance figures first. It's a 1.4 litre turbocharged engine that produces 138 brake horsepower and 242 Newton meters of torque, mated to a 7-speed dual clutch transmission. These are all important because quite a few of its competitors in this range, they are on CVTs and they don't have more than 200 Newton meters of torque. So having 242 Newton meters of torque with a 7-speed dual clutch means you can perform very good overtaking maneuvers or merge into traffic pretty seamlessly. So I enjoy that about the Seltos more so than, let's say, the XV. You know, the XV is a 2-litre engine, has more horsepower but has less torque and is mated to a CVT, and so that can feel, I won't say sluggish, but it feels like the car struggles when you put your foot down. Not so much for the Seltos. See, let's say we are going to signal and then join the first lane. Ooh, see, no problem at all. You know, the guy behind you won't complain because you merge flawlessly. Handling wise, I would say the steering is slightly on the heavy side. I think it's in a bit to make the car feel very sporty. The car does feel very sporty. The transmission, the way it shifts, the way the engine sounds, and the way it steers. So it's more weighted than the CX-30, for example. Comfort-wise, I would say these seats are pretty solid. As in, it's not soft and plush, it's actually firm but supportive, and it being ventilated just makes it one of the best seats at this price point. You get quite a bit of road noise actually, and wind noise. I think it's got to do with the big windows, and then the 17-inch wheels gives quite a bit of road noise. How do I know that there's a lot of road noise? It's also because for some reason the signal indicator is extremely soft. So when I signal to switch lane on the expressway, I actually have no idea whether I'm signaling. I can't hear it. Can you hear it? I can't hear it at all. It's very, very soft. It's not that the mic isn't picking it up. Even to my ear, I can't hear it. So that's something weird with the signal stock. So as usual, we have will buy, won't buy, or go try the Kia Seltos. Oh, I'm going to say will buy. Then all of you are going to say, but you never address it. This one is made in India. How can you just say will buy? Yeah, part of me was also going to say go try because it's made in India. Then I questioned myself, am I being discriminatory just because something is not made in what you perceive as a tier 1 manufacturing country, like you would prefer the Seltos in Singapore to be the made in Korea version. But think about it, in the early 2000s, in the 90s and 80s, when you think about South Korean products, you also like, not reliable. But perceptions change, right? Because the companies also improved their quality control. Will Kia make a car that is going to be super unreliable just to rake in a bit of cash for the short term and destroy the credibility that they have built up in the last 20 years? I don't think so. I don't think they want to do that. And India is a big market. Are they going to build an unreliable car for one of the biggest markets in the world? I don't think so also. If you look at this, it's a very sporty SUV. And the points I've already mentioned before, no other compact SUV looks as much like an SUV as this one. and it drives sportily as well. Try to look past the made in India label, as I have tried to, and maybe do some of your research and then ask yourself, will that still hinder you from making a purchase? Then yeah, but from my perspective, from my experience driving this car is a joy to drive. And even if I put 2,000 kilometers in this thing for the review, I can't tell you whether it is confirmed reliable or not, because I'm not performing a stress test. I can't put in 100,000 kilometers on this thing and tell you whether or not things start to break. Reviews just don't work that way. This is not a long-term review. So yeah, do you agree with the will buy verdict? If you don't, let me know in the comments below. If you have strong feelings about why some cars have to be made in certain countries, let me know in the comments section below as well. You know, I'm also keen to learn more about this thing called reliability. Like I know that there was a big recall for Toyota cars made in the States because there was something wrong. But there are also recalls being conducted for cars made in Japan. You know, but then it's just perception. Japanese equal reliable. Yeah, maybe higher chance, but there are also blips. Yeah, rant over. Bye bye.